Speaking of remaking Washington to his liking, let's turn to CBS's Jake Rosen, who's here and is closely tracking the ongoing deployment of the National Guard across Washington. Today, Jake, good to see you. The Attorney General announced that there have been now more than 1,000 arrests by federal law enforcement across the city since the federal takeover began almost 2 weeks ago. Put that in context. Do we have any sense if it's more or less, about the same of what was going on before?
Well, context is everything, Ed, because it's a little bit difficult to know, because when you add up these numbers that we're being told, about 45% of those Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said at today in the Oval Office are actually immigration-related arrests, whether or not somebody actually committed a crime or not, or what in the city, a violent crime like the Trump administration says they're focused on, or simply is here illegally. That is kind of not that's factored into what the Trump administration is selling. Usually around this time of the year in D.C., there's about 50 arrests a night. If you kind of take those numbers out, it's not out of the realm of possibility that these are accurate. But the Metropolitan Police Department here is also doing arrests separate from federal law enforcement.
Oh, they are?
They are. And some of these patrols that are moving around the city are no different than they would be, let's just say, earlier this month before the federal takeover happened. But if there's a federal law enforcement officer present at the scene of these arrests, then it becomes tacked into these tallies. So it's difficult for us to know for sure. But again, reminder that this kind of door opening that the federal administration has taken here has allowed them to come in and do these ICE arrests, in addition to that, which also not just pads these numbers, but accomplishes an administration priority as well.
In part because when the federal takeover happened, they then compelled the mayor's office, the police chief, to revoke their so-called sanctuary city status and instead cooperate with federal agents, which had not been the case here. Now, look, President's also, of course, eyeing potential crackdowns in other cities, most notably Chicago. He talked about this today. Take a listen.
We're ready to go anywhere. We have a full complement of great human beings. We're full. You know, our military is full. We were way empty 1 year ago. Now we're full. So we can go anywhere on less than 24 hours notice.
Do we have any sense of whether deployments in other cities would mirror the D.C. playbook?
It's certainly possible, but I think it's best to remind people of what things looked like in Los Angeles earlier this year, when there was an immediate lawsuit challenging the deployment, saying that the situation had not reached a point that merits presidential authority. A judge that leaned liberal in California temporarily blocked it for about 12 hours, that deployment, and an appeals court came in and said that the president actually does have the authority to put troops in these cities. I think, and really what ended up being the longer-term move in Los Angeles was protecting these federal immigration and officers, HSI, FBI, as they move throughout the city with ICE to make these immigration arrests, protect federal buildings, and that would be certainly one way that he can do it legally. But again, D.C. is very unique, as our viewers are coming to learn, that the president has control of our National Guard. Nobody in district leadership, including our mayor or police chief, has actual control. So it's possible that he can find a way to do this for a significant amount of time.
In other places, of course, the appeals court opinions might be the variation. What they said in California is one thing. What they say in the Midwest might be something different. All right, Jake Rosen, you'll be there tracking it all for us. We appreciate it.